Okay, so I'm gonna kind of start walking you through how I put my mix together, where I start, where I end up, and we'll talk through what I'm hearing and the changes that I make to kind of achieve the sound that I do once everything's put together. I'm gonna start with the drum kit. If you've ever heard an Elevation record or a song, you know that the drums are a really important piece of that. So getting a really big drum sound is really important to me because I like to recreate that live. I have tracks from a tour stop that we did. Vincent is playing drums. He's amazing. Um, we work a lot very closely with him on the tuning and then along with our monitor engineer, mic placement's really crucial. So a lot of the stuff that I'm doing is tonal shaping. If there's anything that we feel like we need to fix, we fix on the drum or fix with the mic placement. So, before I even do anything on the console, we spend a lot of time up there. So I'm going to start with the kick drum. I'm going to play this track, and I'll kind of walk you through what I'm doing, what I'm hearing, and it'll be a mix of stuff on the console. It'll be some plugins that I'm using. Again, the plugins that I'm using can be done on the console as well. I like the way that the plugins sound, so that's what I choose to do, but by no means is that the right or wrong way to do it. I'm sure there's plenty of things that I do that are not correct, but they sound cool. So I'm going to start with the kick. We have two mics on the kick drum, kick in and kick out. Kick in is a Sennheiser 901, and the kick out is an Audix D6. Very standard mic placement. We have the sound port of the kick drum in the bottom right corner. We have a pillow in the kick drum, so the inside mic sits on that pillow. So I'll start with those two mics. Everything's flat right now. My two drum buses are flat. I'm actually going to take the parallel bus out. So we'll just start with the dry drum group. But here's kind of what this kick drum sounds like. I'll listen to the kick in mic by itself, and then we'll listen to the kick out mic by itself. Here's the kick out mic. So again, those two mics without anything I'm doing sound great to begin with. So those two mics get bused to a kick group, which I'll talk about how I use that. But the first thing I always check is that we're getting really good input level. We kind of aim for -10 on Digico. And so our goal is to get the peak of all of these drum inputs as close as we can to 10 so that it's repeatable. And it hits our compression and all of that the same way every day. So here's the two mics together. They're bused to the kick group, and the kick group has a waves rack on it. So I'm going to pull those up. The first thing I'm going to do is check phase always to make sure that the two mics are in phase with each other because they're not in the same position for the same source. So I'll listen to it both in phase, and then I'll flip the inside mic and see if that one's better or not. So you could hear when I flip the phase, we lost all the low end, low mid. So that means that these two mics are in phase with each other. So now I know that, and I can start moving forward with that. You don't want to start making EQ adjustments before you've checked the phase because you're going to kind of go in circles because all that stuff is not going to exist if the mics are out of phase with each other. So here's the two kick drum mics. I'm going to enable the insert, and we'll take a look at the wave screen. So on waves, a lot of my drum inputs have the same plugin. So I've got an SSL channel, which I really love the EQ and the dynamic section of that. I also have RBass. I use that to kind of create a little artificial low end if maybe the PA is not up to par. So I'll enable the SSL channel. Right now with these two kick drum mics the way they are, I'm gonna leave the EQ on the channels alone and kind of treat this as the one summed microphone. So here's this, and I'll, the first thing I'll do is kind of take some low mids out, and you can kind of hear that right now. I want to add a little bit of 55, 60 hertz just to add some thud to it. I'm also going to compress the kick drum a dB or two. So I'm going to do that in the SSL channel. So you can see there's just a couple dB of reduction in this. And then I'm going to enable this R bass, which I'm using to create some of that low end. So tread lightly with this plugin. It can really do some damage to subs if you kind of go too crazy with it. So I'm just doing a couple dB of 40 hertz just to add some moving air way down. So that's sounding pretty cool. I'm gonna go back over to the console. I'm gonna gate this. I like to use the console gate because it's easy and it's quick. It's right here. So I'm gonna adjust the attack time. If I get too fast with the attack time, you can hear the gate clicking. You can kind of hear how it gets a little farty with the transient of the kick drum. So you kind of want to dial your attack time in until you get enough transient with it. So that kick drum's sounding pretty cool. Again, I don't want to go too far and too crazy quite yet until I build the rest of the drum mix. We'll move on to the next piece and kind of start adding in the rest of the drum inputs as we go.